Hi, I'm Gretchen,
And I'm Becca.
and we're two curious ladies on an adventure to learn more about cooking, cannabis.
And the fine art of gluttony. Join us every 10 days or so as we get high and make our way through a recipe.
Step inside and let the consumption begin. Here we are. It's the summer.
We are here. Still summer. We're still here, technically.
Technically.
Mentally, it's iffy sometimes.
It's very iffy most of the time. Yes, yes. How are you doing today, Becca?
I'm doing pretty good. This is gonna be quite a nice episode for me because I'm not doing anything at all. Literally nothing except absorbing, watching, and asking Gretchen some questions. So this is a perfect day for me. How are you doing?
Doing all right. Not as good as you are, obviously.
You were up till midnight.
I was
Perfect.
up past midnight prepping. This was partially because I got stuck in taking a survey that I was very fun for MeUndies underwear. Sponsor our podcast. It's all about the fabrics, like upcoming fabrics and shit. It was so fun. And then they wanted to know my opinions about t-shirts. So that took me way longer than it should have. They were
I
like, it'll
mean,
take 10 minutes. I'm sure I spent like an hour on it.
yeah. Like, well, if you want my opinion, I'm gonna put time into it for you.
Yeah. So that delayed my preparing a little bit. But yes, but I am quite prepared. This should be a fast, quick and fast one. We are going to talk about grilling, mostly is the topic. But as part of our grilling discussion, I put some meat on a stick.
Yeah, she did. We wanted to do something grilled. We originally were talking about Gretchen doing a steak and me doing some kind of fish. And then while technically I do have a grill, it hasn't been touched in over a year, and I wasn't really ready to get into that right now. So there's also, life things happening. So it seemed easier if I just watched Gretchen, and that in that way, she started out with steak in mind and ended up with chicken kebabs. So I'm excited to learn a lot of things today because even when I was eating red meat, I often did not grill. I like never grilled. I have a grill pan, I've used that, but I've never done like live fire on my own. So it's not something that I have a lot of knowledge about other than obviously understanding how it basically works, but not really knowing what's happening. So this is going to be an interesting one. I think this is going to be a nice one to explore something that I wouldn't do this research on myself. So I'm glad Gretchen did, and I just get to absorb, like I said, and learn. This is great.
Yeah, we're gonna tackle two topics here. We're gonna tackle grilling itself and then a little bit about kebabs and things on a skewer and my opinions on things on a skewer more than anything else, I think.
Mhm. But what are you smoking before we get in more into the specifics there?
So this is a from Pacific Stone. This is Blue Dream, and this has been really a nice one for me lately because it's a little bit lighter, so I've been able to smoke through a whole joint in one sitting and still function. And so since I'm playing with fire today, I want to function.
Yes, it's a good idea. We also had to pause for a minute because Gretchen mindfully trimmed up some tree
Yeah,
stems or tree branches around her grill. So yeah, I'm glad that you're like with it today.
I'm really trying. I mean, there was one that was like way over the grill to start with, and then had tied that one back and then noticed, well, the flames were just quite high, so I was feeling a bit more nervous. And now that I've got the fire going and contained in the grill, it's not as much of an issue, but I did think maybe it would be prudent just to, not try and set anything on fire today.
Probably a good idea.
Adjustment to that, not try and set anything on fire that I don't didn't intentionally set on
That's right.
fire.
That's right. An uncontrolled burn.
What will you be enjoying while I am doing all the work today?
I have some Dizzy Rights, which is a new brand to me. This is the Groovy OG. It's 24% THC and then predominantly caryophyllene, then with some myrcene and limonene. I do feel groovy. My head feels floaty. I'm enjoying it. So I'm gonna keep smoking it. I'm using a bong today. So I will be muting myself every once in a while to go smoke and watch Gretchen. And we're also drinking something fun.
I don't actually know which recipe you used. I used, well, I kind of combined them because they're a bit the same.
I used the top one.
I used the bottom one. I think they're
Uh,
basically the same.
okay.
Um, so it's yogurt. So we have I think Doog would be how I would pronounce it because it's Doogh, which is a Persian yogurt drink, as well as Ari, Iran, Iran, Aran, Ayran. Probably meant to look up those pronunciations and forgot. So sorry, that would have been a great idea. Anyway, delicious though. Like it is composed of it's a 1-to-1 ratio of sparkling water and yogurt. So however much you're using, I've got about a cup of each that I'm working on over here, and with mint and salt. Dunzo. And it's really wonderful and refreshing and probiotic, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it now that I've got the proportions correct because we kind of guessed on it a little bit.
Yeah, we just started and then obviously like we usually do, and then said, oh wait, what does it actually say?
What does it actually say?
And I didn't have any Greek yogurt, so I'm using sour cream. So I kept my ratio a little bit lighter on that part of it. And then I didn't have any dried mint. It also suggested rose in the recipe I was using. I didn't want to do that. And so I used lemon zest and lemon juice. And you did lime also.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did a little lime zest and a little lime juice in there just to zip it up a little bit. That was our own discretion of adding, but so just building on the basic idea with a little extra zip because we are acid queens, acid queens.
Yes. Give us all the funky acid tart things. We love it.
Yes, exactly.
So that's what we're sipping on. It is unique. I don't know that I would have ever like ordered this on my own, but I do really enjoy it. You are supposed to blend or food process some sort of like puree situation of your yogurt and salt in the beginning, and then add your sparkling water and mint into that. So we did not take the time to get out blenders or food processors today. So we just did it in the jar with a little fork or a whisk or whatever. So keeping it simple today for sure. I'm keeping it super simple. Gretchen's already done a lot of the hard work. So hopefully she can just also kick back a little bit and teach me about kebabs and grilling and all sorts of things.
Nice thing is I'm going to, after this recipe that we're using today, have lunch and dinners for a little bit because on top of the 2 pounds of chicken thighs that produce 3 17-inch skewers worth of meat, I also have a buttload of veggies that I bought to throw on some skewers and grill. So my coworkers also might be getting a surprise luncheon next Monday.
Lucky.
Lucky. They should all be so lucky.
So you're using chicken thighs.
Yes, this was recommended, and that's kind of where I was leaning. But for some reason, I had assumed it was going to be chicken breast, but no, chicken thighs. Generally, they have the best result when grilled, and they are more nutritious for you. It's just a better meat all around. But this recipe also uses onion in the marinade. And so that like slightly, quote unquote, stronger flavor of the dark meat can stand up to an overnight of soaking with onion more than like a breast would just, it would just be onion. There, it would pretty much
Good takeover.
take over. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so chicken thighs, and you decided, what made you decide to go with skewers instead of just doing a straight grill of thighs or breasts or what have you on the grill?
I'm not exactly sure why that idea in particular became, well, most at least partially due to the fact that I thought you would be doing it too, because that the idea had started there
That's
of
right.
us being able to do meat and
That's right.
fish. And just
Mm-hmm.
because it's not the typical format we would use for something like, I don't know, I just feel like it's a little different. We've done like a plain old steak before, and
Mm-hmm.
steak is
Mm-hmm.
a huge area to cover as well. So, like, yeah, theoretically, that would have been a better way to go with comparison wise. But I don't know. I just wanted some meat on a stick. I don't know why.
Well, we are hard. We don't like to, we like to make what we want to make in the moment. Like, if it
Yes,
doesn't sound good or inspiring, it's not going to happen. So,
right.
for whatever reason, you decided, "Yeah, I gotta poke this meat. I gotta put a hole through all the way through it." But you mentioned the onion, and there's also another ingredient in particular for this recipe that you are super excited about. I don't know if you were going to talk about that later, but
Probably, although I just kind of started out with the recipe, so I kind of skipped over our cocktail talk and went, I'm so excited about this recipe. It's marinated in onions and has saffron.
saffron, Gretchen's fave. One of
I
them.
love it. Yeah, it's just, but I did notice in the instructions that I did not notice until last night that she said to make sure you get really high quality saffron, and I think I may know why. Is because this saffron dish uses a half a teaspoon of already crushed saffron, so that's different than saffron threads because you'll still get like a slightly less volume if you're using threads versus if it's a powder. So I think in high volume, or from what I've discovered from tasting the marinade before I put the chicken in it last night and then tasting the basting liquid this morning, is that saffron can be quite bitter when you're using it in that kind of volume because that's definitely not the typical application. I've never used quite like that heavy of a hand in something. Uh, so I'm unsure of the quality of the one I had to use last night, and now I'm wondering if I need to be careful because it was a little bitter, and so I'm wondering if that's due to the quality of the saffron or if it was some, age related. I will have to look into this. I just wasn't in the headspace to do that last night.
Totally. That makes sense. When you said it can be a little bit too bitter, it made me think of turmeric too, how sometimes that can have that almost metallic-y taste to it, chalkiness sometimes. And if you're going to be like infusing your chicken in this like liquid saffron, basically this like onion liquid saffron, it's yeah, I can see why you'd want to be careful about what that flavoring is.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
hopefully it's like, well, the idea is to have it soak into the meat. So hopefully it's got lower, it's not going to be as concentrated. And I tried to get off as much of the marinade as possible. Also because that can like catch on fire and stuff. It'll like burn easier. So we want to try and get as much of that off as possible. But maybe we should get into that a little bit later. Yeah, I'm very excited about this. And again, I will have no idea really how to pronounce it at all because I'm an asshole and forgot to look up the pronunciations.
Okay, so where do you want to start?
Uh, do you have a particular starting point that you would like me to start at? Because sometimes that's the best way to go about this, is because sometimes I jump into the middle, and maybe
That's
it's
true.
better to have you talk about it if you're the newbie to the whole all of this.
Okay, so let's start then with something we've already done as a comparison,
Okay.
which is that we cooked steak and salmon respectively with that Cook's Illustrated method of a cool pan and more of a lower heat, sort of slower cook. So this is which we both loved and thought provided a really nice crispness and outside caramelization. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So this is really the opposite of that. And so let's start there. Like, what exactly, um, what is gonna happen when you put your meat on a grill? Like, obviously it's hot, and like, what's gonna be the big difference between stovetop and grill?
That the smoky flavor that comes from using a grill. Now I'm mostly speaking about using something other than a gas grill, because for fuck's sake, don't even get me started on how gas grills are not really grills. I'm like, this is almost pointless.
Sure. And this recipe also additionally specified hardwood, not charcoal briquettes too.
Yeah. I mean, I actually did a combo because, well, I like some wood flavor to mine. I don't want a ton of it. And I am actually using a combination of woods today because I got some apple chunks. And also I threw some olive wood on there because we are doing sort of a Middle Easterny thing, I thought. And I've discovered how delicious it is to grill things over olive wood. It has the best flavor. I can't stand it. And I might throw some pecan chips on there too if I get really saucy with it. I might save that for doing my veggies later when I do them after I've done the meat. Okay, so where are we talking about? Yeah, smoky flavor.
The smoky flavor is going to be one of the big differences. You're not going to get a smoky flavor in the pan unless you're adding it in some way. And then heat, right? Like it's going to probably be a lot hotter than your pan. I mean, your pan can get hot, pretty hot, but it's going to be different.
It's different. And I spent a while trying to read last night about the difference between, because grilling and broiling are the same thing, just where the heat comes from is different. Broiling, it's above your food. Grilling, it's below. So usually if you work in a professional kitchen, you have a grill broiler combo.
So there's,
yeah. So
okay.
really helpful for like making a gratin. Like that's broiling. But the way the heat works is different. Grilling is referred to as radiant. Grilling and broiling are more akin to going, this is actually how I was thinking of it last night, going outside and getting a sunburn versus burning yourself with like a pan.
Okay.
Now, I can't really translate that into explaining what the fuck is really going on with that.
Mm-hmm.
Suffice to say, it just browns your meat in a different way. And so most grills have, some sort of cast iron or grill top that you put your food on and grill. So you have so pretty much oh God, I am having a hard time explaining this. Apparently Blue Dream is not good for explaining things. Help.
If we're thinking about it, like as just to keep comparing it to cooking indoors, let's say, or like not on an open wood charcoal flame kind of a situation. Okay. So the biggest differences are really going to be taste, and they're really going to be like the outside's going to cook a lot faster when you're grilling it, right? Versus if you're cooking something inside. I mean, if you have it at like a super high temp, it's still going to cook a little bit hotter outside. But again, this is going to be one of those differences, right?
So cooking on an open flame requires a little more skill due to the fact that part of the nice thing about cooking inside on a pan is that you're applying flames to that piece of metal. So you're getting consistent, exact heat all the way across. So that makes your life easier, no matter what. Consistency makes your life easier. Now, when working with a flame grill, you've got different temperatures depending on where you put it on the grill. You have to be careful about making sure that you're not letting a lot of stuff like drip into the fire, especially fats and things, which will make it flame and produce a really funky aromatic. So it has like almost a gassy aromatic to it when that happens. Yeah, it's a skill because you got to get it close enough to the fire to get it to cook, but not so close that you're going to be producing some sort of weird, maybe not weird, but unpleasant effect from having this open flame right under your food with nothing to catch anything that might make the flame go weird. Guess I don't know
Totally.
what I'm saying anymore.
I think I hear you in that, yeah, not only is in some ways is it going to be easier to cook it inside because easier being more consistency, easier being more control. What is it like? Is the drive to cook meat on a grill like wanting to perfect it? Because like you say, like there's so much more um like nuance to it? Is it like you against the grill in a way and
Yeah,
is there some kind of like ownership situation that's happening here?
I think yes. I think this is why there are a lot more men that get into grilling than women. Because I definitely think it is like a you versus the fire, like learning to work together. Have you watched Poker Face?
Mm-mm.
Okay. You should. There is an
Okay.
absolutely amazing episode where she's solving a murder around this really interesting like barbecue place.
Mm.
So she's working at the barbecue place, so she's like learning about how barbecue works. So that it's like there's this whole food component that I just love out of that
Cool.
episode. I mean, I love the whole show altogether. So big thumbs up for me. But like this one episode is absolutely my favorite episode.
Okay, I'll watch it.
So yeah, there's like this element of learning to perfect it, learning to like work with this like thing that is unpredictable, but if you know what you're doing, you can get a consistency to it. But
Mm-hmm.
you have to kind of find your own way through it. And so like in that show, he's like showing her the different woods he uses. Like he uses a combination of like pecan and hickory. Like he has all the, oak. He's got all the woods. He's got all the wood. And so he's like asking her to taste the like splinters from the wood.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you get into that level of it,
Yeah.
it's just something that there's a nut. You're not as confined.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit more of an artistry to it. There's a little more of a skill to it. That's precisely it about curling.
And the flavor. I mean, if you really want that smoky flavor, yeah. Like I don't like you and I are not huge fans of smoky flavors given we won't
History.
go into it again, history.
Yeah.
But I hate even more the like fake smoke, liquid smoke
Oh
or
yeah.
any of that. Like, oh no, no, no,
It's
no.
so gross. Yeah. I mean, and once you like taste, like you can use liquid smoke effectively, but teeny tiny amounts. So I think people just it's too intense.
Sure.
Um,
And yeah, like just grill. I mean, I'm sure there's a time and a place for liquid smoke, but just
yeah, girl.
yeah. Okay, so in terms of to compare grilling to the like indoor cooking, I have a good sense there. And is there anything else you think we have to know about what's happening that's different outside versus inside? We're broiling.
Just that there are certain meats that are more suited to it, unless you're getting into long smoking, that, then you get into your briskets and things like that that have a high connective tissue content and need a long, slow cooking time to let those fibers break down.
Mm-hmm.
So anything that's got a lot of connective tissue in it is not great for grilling. Poultry is great because it's a meat that doesn't spend a whole lot of time being alive and running around and doing anything. Sorry, I know. Sorry.
Okay. Bad. Poor chicken. Okay, keep going.
Poor chickens being so suited to grilling.
Perfect plump bodies.
Anyway, so there's almost no part of a chicken you can't cook like over a fire. They're good for that.
Okay, so then let's talk specifically a little bit more about kebabs.
So when you're talking about kebab specifically, the origin of this dish is just the fact that it's cubed meat. It had nothing to do with the skewer originally. It's just that they're little pieces of meat usually. So referring more to something that you're chopping up to make it easier to cook. I think it really would go back to anytime you'd be out hunting and like need to cook for yourself. You're gonna just want to cook small pieces and keep
Kebab it.
kebab it. I think the history, because almost every culture has some form of food on a stick, you know, it's like
There.
it just makes sense that it's like it's something that's going back. It goes back so far.
It's probably, I'm imagining too, I mean, grilling, I think you had this note on here, so that's probably why it's in my head, but like grilling originally was just kind of cooking over an open fire pit on a spit. And
Yes.
so I imagine, like, as easy as it is to just kind of skewer a whole animal, maybe it's quicker and you can consume it faster and more efficiently if you do cut it down into small cubes and then cook it.
Yeah. So because I did cut mine down to little, I mean, cubes would be a real loose term. I basically got it into small pieces. Chicken thighs are nearly impossible to do in a cube unless you're doing a small cube. And I was trying for like I think the recommendation was like 1.5 inches by 2 inches, maybe tops pieces. And I do have some that are just longer pieces that I left more whole. Um, so yeah, just cut into small pieces and then put onto the skewer, or well, marinated overnight and then put on the skewer. I'm not sure which way she did it, but I'm pretty sure it was marinate then skewer.
So you ended up doing your chicken thighs in like a squish,
A squish, yes.
a squish, and yours is just meat. There's no layering of onion or veggies in between there, like sometimes happens.
Mm-mm. This seems to be a bit more of like that kind of let's smash a bunch of thinly cut pieces of meat onto a like big roasting spit kind of scenario.
Mhm.
So somewhat akin to that, and then you grill your veggies on the side.
So yours is
Anyway,
just meat, and you marinated it since last night. Is it just onion and saffron?
it's onion, saffron, garlic, yogurt, and lemon juice with olive oil.
Mm, yum.
So the
Okay.
onion and the garlic are grated. So you release as much. Oh man, this was a hell of a thing because I, it's just like, I was dying. Like I'd put contacts in. Thank God I put contacts in earlier in the evening. Not even thinking about that. Just I was like, oh, I have to do some cooking today, so I'll put my contacts in. But even then, like like stuff was coming out of my nose. Like I would have been crying, but like it was coming out of my nose, like making my throat sore.
Oh my gosh.
So I hate grating onions. I should always do it in the food processor because it does get really hard to breathe. But
And
yeah.
did everything smell like onion then?
Oh, for yeah, it still
For
smells like
sure.
onion in the front room of my house.
So next steps for you are going to be put it on the grill. How have you prepped your grill so far?
I started my charcoal or started my fire source. So depending on what you're using, if you're using wood or charcoal. And I once that I use a chimney to light mine. There's a few different methods, but we've preferred chimneys in our family, which means you have a little compartment underneath for your kindling, or paper is usually what I use, that helps light the coals. So my coals got going that from the bottom up, and then I've spread those coals out under the grates of the grill, put the grates in, and close the top to let the grates heat up pretty well. I'll have to clean them before I put the skewer on the grill. So I'm gonna have to do a little scrubby scrub. And then a quick oiling just to remove some of the debris that I might not get with the brush, and make sure that there's a little bit of oil on there to start with, at least before I put the meat on. And then I will get my skewer out and put it on the grill.
Okay. And when you're skewering your meat like this, as opposed to keeping one whole piece together, you're losing liquid. Why? Like, like how do you keep it moist while knowing, like, is that why you marinate it for so long?
Yes, marinating will help with that. but you're going for a more quick cook method. Here's a little bit of my theory is that putting that hole through the meat, you have something, and especially if you have metal skewers, you have something that conducts meat that goes through the center. So one of the things you really have to watch with grilling is making sure you're not getting so much heat outside that your inside cannot cook as quickly as the outside. And as the example that On Food and Cooking gave, you can have a blackened steak while the inside is still cold. So this is the trick of the thing, is to get that nice Maillard reaction on the outside, but also cooking on the interior as well.
So the skewer will help maintain that internal temperature to be a little bit
Or
closer to the external temperature.
or be an assist, yes, to bring
Assist.
internal temperature up more quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, dealing smaller pieces of food means it cooks quicker and there's less moisture loss, hopefully.
Okay. I think you meant to say it conducts heat and you said it conducts meat and backwards. I'm a meat conductor.
It's a meat conductor. The merch. Oh, the merch.
And how long, you said it's quicker. How long is this going to take?
Six
I mean,
to
you'll
eight
go through
minutes.
all this, but just in general, how long should you plan for grilling?
Depends on how big of chunks you got your meat in. So if you're like a 2 to 3 inch size chunk, you're probably looking at closer to 15 minutes on the grill. The ones I have today are really tiny, and this is how, like, I mean, not tiny, but pretty small. It's going to be thin. So it's supposed to be 6 to 8 minutes. There's also a basting liquid that I'll be brushing on while it's grilling. So that will also help keep moisture around with the meat.
Okay. Yeah. If it's leaking some, you're replacing as you go. In addition to the marinade, like you're keeping this thing moist.
Yeah.
Sorry for using that word. But yeah.
I don't mind. I am not offended by the word moist.
So what else do you think we should know before you get into the full ingredient list?
I think we probably are. I don't know. I feel like we've covered a bit and that we've kind of prattled on for a while. So maybe we should get into the meaty part of this. So
let's get to the meat.
Let's talk about this recipe. I believe this is pronounced. So this is just called grilled chicken kebab, and then the name they give it after that is Juje, I think.
Yeah, Juje.
Joojeh. Again, could have looked it up, didn't get to it, so sorry.
And this is the same source as our yogurt drink, right?
Yes.
Same site. Okay.
Yes, same exact site.
The Delicious Crescent, if we haven't said it, or if we said it again. It's a fun name.
It is a fun name. Just this whole recipe was like, oh, and I'm just so hungry thinking about it right now. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so let's read the ingredients.
All right. So we have 2 pounds boneless chicken thighs cut into 1.5 to 2-inch pieces. See note. We'll get to the note at the end. Half a teaspoon of saffron ground and dissolved into 2 tablespoons of hot water. 1 large onion grated. 2 cloves of garlic grated. 1/3 cup lemon juice or 1/3 cup plain yogurt plus 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. 1 tablespoon of olive oil. 1.5 teaspoons of salt. 1 teaspoon ground black pepper. It's also got some suggested veg, which is bell peppers quartered, red onions quartered, and Roma tomatoes. I'm doing a riff on this. I got some tiny little peppers that I'm going to just take the tops off of, or actually I might leave the tops on. Maybe I'll be really saucy and just leave them whole. I got little tomatoes, grape tomatoes, and I'm going to use shallots instead of red onion, mostly because I went to Trader Joe's because I was not happy with the Whole Foods onions. I was like, oh, I'll go to Trader Joe's and I'll pick up these other things that I won't mind picking up there, and I forgot the red onion. So
You have to do shallots.
So now I have to do shallots,
Yeah.
but maybe I had just decided that unintentionally decided that.
What was the note for the chicken thighs?
Chicken. Choose boneless chicken thigh meat and cut them into 1.5-inch pieces. I would avoid chicken breast as it will not result as juicy as thigh meat. If using chicken drumettes or wings, watch the cooking time as they may cook sooner. So they have the little,
Mm.
the bone will help cook it as well.
Mm. What's in your basting sauce then?
So the basting sauce is 2 tablespoons olive oil or butter. I actually made a little brown butter because,
Your Gretchen?
yeah, well, she had said something about how she had it the first time she had it was from a restaurant in New York that had like a brown buttery kind of component to it. So I was like, well, I better make sure that's in there. So I'm going to add a
Yeah.
little brown butter. 1/2 tablespoon saffron water remaining from above. 1/2 teaspoon lemon juice, optional. 1/4 teaspoon salt. 1/2 teaspoon of ground black pepper. And then equipment says 1/2-inch wide skewers, charcoal grill, medium mixing bowl.
World level?
Oh, this is world level 1, I hope.
Especially if you're comfortable grilling.
Yes, if you're adding in the whole charcoal grill for like the first time kind of thing, that's going to really ratchet up your difficulty level because it's kind of a hard thing to get right on the very first try. And I'm not sure even I do not claim to be a grilling expert. It's not really my forte.
So you've already said you're going to cook it for 6 to 8 minutes, but at this point, since everything is marinated, you have skewered your chicken already, so you're basically ready to go. When we move out there, you're going to, did you say you're going to clean off your grill
Mm-hmm.
flats? What is it called? Grates?
Great. Yeah.
Your grates. And then basically just like start going, just put one down and go.
And go. Yes.
Okay. So we'll probably time travel till you're done.
Oh, we didn't read through the recipe yet.
Oh, but what?
We read the ingredients, but we didn't read her instructions. All right, so these are the instructions, and this is the pre-preparation steps. I'm finishing my yogurt drink over here, and apparently the carbonation is producing some bubbles. In a mortar and pestle, grind saffron with a pinch of salt until powdered. Then dissolve in hot water, soak for 15 to 20 minutes. Trim any excess fat from the chicken thigh meat pieces. Combine the marinade ingredients, 1.5 tablespoons of saffron water, grated onion, grated garlic, lemon juice, or yogurt, lemon, and lemon juice, olive oil, salt, and pepper in a large bowl. Add the chicken pieces, toss well, and marinate for at least 6 hours, 12 hours if using yogurt marinade in the refrigerator, or up to 24 hours. Oh, I see. Those were minimums. I thought that was like kind of a maximum, was the 12 maximum hours of using a yogurt marinade. So I was like, great. When I was like up at late last night, I was like, great. This will be perfect. We'll be recording
Right at the max. Oh, wait.
All right. Leave the marinated chicken out for about 30 minutes at room temperature prior to grilling. Ready the grill. Preheat the charcoal grill for about 30 minutes before grilling. Okay, so even like post lighting the fire, I needed 30 minutes. So this is perfect. We'll be ready to go right away when we go out. We recommend using hardwood charcoal, not briquette, for perfect flavor. The grill is ready when the flame has decided. The coals glow uniformly and covered with some ash. I don't think this is written well. And I forgot to check out the tutorial. It says, alternatively, grill the chicken using nicely oiled grates on a gas grill at medium heat for 10 to 15 minutes. See note for oven baking option, which we're just going to ignore for right now. And so now we are on to skewer meat and arrange on grill. Meanwhile, thread the chicken on 1/2-inch wide metal skewers, making sure to pass the skewer through the thick portion of the meat. Thread vegetables on additional skewers. If using wooden or bamboo skewers, soak them in water for at least 30 minutes before using. Arrange the skewers, spacing them apart. directly over the grill without the grate. Oh,
Oh.
interesting. Huh. Okay. About 4 inches above the glowing coals. Place vegetable skewers on one side of the grill. Make the basting mixture, combine olive oil, saffron water, lemon juice, salt, and pepper. Grill the chicken skewers for 6 to 8 minutes on each side, turning them often until the chicken is done and the juices released are no longer pink. Cut a piece of the chicken to make sure it is white and done inside. Brush the basting mixture on all the chicken and vegetable skewers while grilling and at the end. Avoid placing the skewers too close to the heat source or they will burn on the outside and remain uncooked on the inside. Do not cook at very low heat for too long, otherwise they will become dry and overcooked. Brush the chicken with basting mixture and remove the skewers using a piece of lavash or with the help of a fork. I bought some very cool dual-pronged skewers that have a whole little thing on them to scoot all that meat and stuff off. So I'm pretty excited.
Nice.
Serve with grilled vegetables, flatbreads, rice, pickles, and sumac on the side. Do you want me to cover any of the other instructions here? Because there's a lot of stuff going on here, but I think maybe we could just get on with it.
Let's do it.
I think I'm all ready. My kebabs have been out for at least half an hour. The fire should be ready to roll. And yeah, we will see you guys in the future. We will describe it all in all its glory to you.
Yeah, and Gretchen will have grilled meat on a stick.
Grilled meat on a stick. Yay!
Yay!
So I'm going to start outside.
Okay.
I also didn't think about where to put you. Can you see anything?
I can see some smoke coming out the top, but I can't see under. Oh, there, I can see flames.
Yeah, the stuff I'm scraping off is catching on fire, so.
Oh, good.
And also,
for me.
yeah, because I've taken the lid off, there's more oxygen, so things can burn a little bit higher.
Oh, I see. I had a question about using olive oil on the grill and like the burning point being lower.
Yeah, not great as far as like, I mean, it's a good healthy choice, but you're right, it does have a lower smoke point. Yeah, so I probably will use avocado oil to oil my grates and stuff. But,
so are you gonna do it without the grate?
I don't know if I can. That's unfortunately now the grate's on there, so it's a little bit hard to. I'm gonna shut this again. Put it somewhere.
Oh, it looks like it fits.
So yeah, we're gonna see how this works.
And this is like real, like we were talking about, like open fire. I mean, I know
real
the grate's like, you know, still open fire, but not the same.
It's not quite the same because there is a surface there to put it on. Mm-hmm. How's the view?
That's awesome. It's nice to be in the backyard. It's been a while.
Can you see any of the grill at all? Okay, great.
I can. I have a great view of the grill and behind the gate, and it looks beautiful.
There we go.
Oh my gosh, awesome.
Okay, so how far from the coals? Like 4 inches, right?
Yeah, 4. And are the flames on the other side? They're not really right under it?
So that's stuff that's like actively burning right now, which is fine to be over there and actively burning. Better that it's over there. I got this going real well. Can smell that onion though. Okay, chicken, don't fall off. Yeah, I'm almost a perfect distance away from the fire. Might be about 6 inches. Probably raise it up slightly if I wanted to. It does smell amazing though.
What do you smell the most? The onion?
Onion, yeah. But the saffron definitely comes through really nicely.
Okay.
So I can definitely smell the saffron as well.
Oh, do you know how long it's been?
No, I have no idea.
I'm gonna say about 6 minutes.
Okay. Let's see. I don't think it's quite ready.
Okay.
It's getting there. Okay. I'm just kind of looking for a little bit more char. Pretty pink in the middle still. Baste. Oh, I really should have put sunscreen on before I came out here too.
Yeah, you're basting yourself
Yeah,
or cooking yourself.
I'm baking myself. I might have to light a whole other, or at least gonna have to feed this before I do all my veggies a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Starting to look pretty much like it's getting cooked all the way through. So
Oh, good. So it's been another 4 minutes. So about 10 total so far?
I think so. Gonna have to make more of this basting sauce.
That basting sauce sounded so good. And the
It's
marinade.
Yeah, the marinade's really good.
I'm trying to think of like maybe a halibut could hold
Oh,
it.
yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, for the next couple skewers, I need to make sure I add more charcoal on either end. I'm a bit worried about those parts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I might pull it off. I feel like it's cooked enough that it'll carry over now.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't want to
So that was
wait.
13 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's cooked all the way through.
Okay. Okay, we are back inside and Gretchen is about to start tasting.
Hello. I'm going to slide it off of this, see how this works. So,
Yeah.
I feel like this might work better with not a solid chunk of meat.
Mm,
Oh,
like a vegetable.
well, like if you alternate with them.
Oh,
But I can't stop putting them in my mouth. It's so good.
so good. How's the char?
It could have been more charred, so
So
might have to,
hotter.
yeah, a little bit hotter.
Okay. But the
Um,
flavors out of
the
this
flavor
world.
is outstanding. Yes.
Okay. I love it.
Some of them at the end are a little bit undercooked, I think,
Mm-hmm.
but the middle seems to be well done.
Okay.
The yogurt really tenderizes it, so it's really,
Mm-hmm.
really tender. But
And
yeah,
the
I need
lemon too, probably, right?
yeah,
Like tenderizes too.
yeah.
It's not that much lemon, but
And I just did a squeeze of lemon. So I probably could have done a little bit more lemon or even put some lemon zest in there if I really wanted to.
mm-hmm.
But oh my God.
So give us a recap of everything that happened while we were outside in case maybe the noise wasn't great or the sound.
We did find that the skewer would fit directly across my grill. So did it straight over the fire there. Mostly my notes were I needed it to be a little bit hotter. So I needed to add a little bit more stuff. The fire needed to be wider to make sure I cooked it all the way across, or I needed to make my row of meat shorter. I guess could be another solution to that.
Mm-hmm.
Then Becca got to see me build out a big fire for doing veggies and the rest of the meat. The meat itself is really nice and tender, beautiful flavor, could just use a little bit more salt. I did end up cooking it for about 13 minutes, and the ones on the end were not really well done. So that's part of like that need a bigger, longer fire. Longer fire.
Longer fire, higher heat. But your meat on a stick then has been a success.
Tremendous success. So exciting. Very delicious.
Very delicious. When it was grilling, I asked you, you had said it smelled really good, and I'd asked you which smell was the most predominant, and you said onion and then saffron. Is that still the same flavor? Like, is
Yes.
that still what's happening when you're eating it?
Yeah, you get that really nice, mellow, well integrated onion flavor in the meat. Yeah, I really love marinating meat and onion. It makes it so delicious.
Mm-hmm. Yum. And then you said too, you used a lot of the basting sauce. So you probably want to make
Uh,
more next time, or you're going to make more still for the vegetables and the rest of the chicken that you have. But just for other folks making this, maybe up that quantity for the basting
yeah,
sauce. Yeah.
at least double.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, I did a lot of basting. So maybe if you're not basting it quite as much as I did, then it's more and less less of a problem. I
Mm-hmm.
suppose if you're also doing all of your meat at once, you can a lot better for like, this is how much I need, or, and you're doing it consistently across all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Do you think it would have made a difference if you had marinated it for 12 more hours? So 24 total?
I worry about marinating it for that long just because the yogurt can start to really break
Mm.
down the meat. And since chicken's a little bit of a softer, quote unquote, meat, I don't know that I'd want to take it for a much longer time in the marinade.
Yeah.
Because the flavor profile is really good. I just need a little more salt.
Okay. So this would be great on its own, probably great in a salad, probably great in a little pita pocket or something, on a pizza, anything.
Yeah. I mean, yes, in a pita pocket for sure. I'm going to have it with couscous because I've got a lot of couscous.
Yum.
Couldn't find any rice in my possession at the moment, so, but lots of couscous.
Couscous it is.
Couscous it is.
Well, thank you for taking me on this grilling journey. I did actually learn a lot, and I told Gretchen one of the best parts about it was getting to watch the grill and the smoke and not be affected at all by the smoke. So, a success.
All around. A success all around.
We've got some fun things coming up, something that we've got a brewing, hint, hint, for a little while. So, that'll be fun. And a few close out the summer things. So
it's very exciting. Yeah.
Like and subscribe. Keep telling everybody. We are so excited to see new listeners. Hello, Germany. Hello, Belgium. You are popping up in their top areas now. Nice to see you all. We are having so much fun. Join the Patreon. We're kind of back up and running there. So get over there.
Get over there. Give us your money. Also, don't forget about Busy CBD, our friends over at Busy CBD. And your code is HGBusy, BIZZY, all caps.
Yep, for 15% off for our Gluttoneers. So let's keep enjoying our CBD. Let's keep trying to stay relaxed in this fucking nutso world that we're in. Keep cooking, keep grilling. Off we go.
Off we go. Oh, no coconuts today.
No coconuts. The bad, not
sad
coming through hand clap. Yeah. We got so used to the coconuts.